developer building it had taken GPT and trained it over all of the Government of India documents and then scaffolded it with the speech recognition software. So think about what that meant, right? That basically meant that a large model, a foundational model that was developed in the West Coast of the United States a few months before, had made its way to a developer in India who then sort of added value to it to make a difference in a remote villager's life. And I've never seen that type of diffusion. To your point about the Industrial Revolution, Klaus, I would say, we're still waiting for the Industrial Revolution to reach some large parts of the world 250 years after. The internet maybe took 30 years. Maybe the cloud and mobile took 15 years. And now I think we're talking months, which to me, I think is perhaps the benefit. Doesn't mean to your core question.
So Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, these are the companies that have dominated and that have gone into public consciousness as belonging to or creating that thing called the big tech. But the club has gained a new member, NVIDIA's dominance as an AI chip maker. It has lifted it into the big tech ranks. The company hit a 1 trillion market capitalization initially in the second quarter of 2023. The rise signals the next platform shift as companies are rushing to harness AI's potential. And of the 3 most valuable companies in the world, Apple, Microsoft, the third one now is NVIDIA. And these figures are even more impressive when you consider that at the beginning of 2020, NVIDIA was valued at a relatively tiny 145 billion. So yes, all in on AI, technology giants throwing their weight behind promising AI startups, offering computing power and funds for development, especially in the realm of generative AI. So if you are a startup raising funding right now or know of one, the data says they really should sprinkle some AI into their pitch deck. Why? Because the AI premium is very real. So yes, go book that .ai domain name and get all that money is what my advice is to those of them who I know, my clients who trying to soon become Soonicorns. All right, Accenture betting big on AI. How do we know? If you dig into the business relationships, you find multiple AI partnerships with big tech companies. They've announced plans to invest these billions of dollars in AI by 2026, doubling their AI talent pool in the process. So why now? Generative AI has the same why now as, I would say, AI more broadly. So you have better models, you have more data, you have more compute. So the category is changing faster than what we can capture. And just as mobile unleashed new types of applications through new capabilities, think GPS, cameras, on-the-go connectivity, it is expected that these large models would motivate a new wave of generative AI applications. And just as the inflection point of mobile created a market opening for a handful of these killer apps a decade ago, it is expected that killer apps will emerge for generative AI. Yes, the race is on. Just to give you an idea, data from IDC and forecasts from Statista, how much data is created and stored online between 2020 and 2025, right here. Top 25 countries with the most data centers. Yes, the world is changing faster than what we can capture. Big tech companies spending on AI data centers. I'm going to get into this business of data in a while. If you look at the skill evolution according to employer expectations, yes, technological skills are projected to grow in importance more rapidly than any other type of skills. And within them, AI and big data, they top the list as the fastest growing skills. Once again, looking ahead in 2030, the picture is pretty similar. The top right quadrant highlights the skills that are already core to organizations and expected to continue rapidly. Skills such as AI, big data, all of these right on top. So yes, the technology business people playbook, that is what this is all about. Not only what is technologically feasible, but also what is business-wise viable and what is people-wise desirable. At that sweet spot of intersection is where the story of AI lies. So yes, a quick question. We've just got over with the very first session with which I wanted to use this pick and shovel kind of strategy to kind of make it accessible. Are there any questions, comments, observations, anyone, anything? I'm just going to go around the room and see if we can engage in some discussion. All right. So the question that I have of you guys, I am imagining that all of us have been hearing about AI, generative AI for the last 1 or 2 years at least now. What is it that is behind the AI revolution? What is driving this AI revolution? Anyone? What do you think is at the heart of this AI revolution? So we, the human beings, have been on planet Earth for the last 200,000 years. As much data as has been produced in the last 200,000 years is what has been produced in the last 2 years. So one of the big things which is at the heart of this AI revolution is this thing called data. Huge volumes of data, huge velocity of data. The second one and the big ticket one is, all right, before I get into this business, let me just also quickly summarize what I have tried to capture in the very first part of it. What am I trying to say when we have tried to rush through the initial 15-20 slides? There are three very large statements that I'm trying to make here. First, AI is a seismic transformation that is driving the biggest platform shift in technology ever seen. The US is clearly the global leader. It is the envy of the world when it comes to AI development so far. However, there is an arms race with China and other countries when it comes to technology. The second one is that generative AI is transforming industries. It is not just a technological advancement, it's a revolution that is reshaping industries across the board. So the ability of generative AI to create text, images, music, code, what have you, video, all of these, this has opened doors for innovation in new products, new services, creating efficiencies. The industries could be finance, healthcare, creative arts, what have you. AI is one of the most important things humanity is working on. It is more profound than electricity or fire. That is Sundar Pichai for you. Yes, the CEO at Alphabet, the parent company of Google. So the statement is emphasizing the transformative potential of AI, of generative AI, positioning generative AI as a revolutionary force that is shaping every industry, including finance, including medicine, including, any industry that you can today talk about. All right, so this is where I wanted to quickly capture what is driving this AI revolution, what is at the heart of this AI revolution. So one thing, as I just said, is data. Can any one of you guys guess what the other things are? There are at least three things that are driving this AI revolution. The three key drivers of artificial intelligence. So I said there is huge data. The second one is this humongous compute power that is available to us, right? And not only compute power, it is available in the cloud, which means anywhere, wherever you want it, howsoever much that you want it. And finally, the very sophisticated algorithms, the code, the sophisticated code. So yes, a convergence of all these three is what is at the heart of this AI revolution. More data means greater access, cheap and more computing power, on-demand cloud computing, and advanced algorithms. But data, it is not the same as knowledge. So what is AI? Let me go around the room asking, what is AI? Yes, my dear friends, what do you think is AI? Anyone? So AI is typically defined as the ability of a machine, all right, to perform cognitive functions, cognitive means of the brain that we would typically associate with the human minds. For example, I can perceive, I can reason, I can learn, I can interact with the environment. I can solve a problem. I can even exercise creativity. So it's a branch of computer science that is dedicated to creating these intelligent machines that work and act like humans. So in AI, it's a process of imparting data, information, human intelligence to machines. And most of the AI systems, mark this word, simulate natural intelligence to solve complex problems. Simulate, which means AI is a computer system's ability to mimic human behavior. Simulation, mimicking, very, very important to understand these key words. All right. So if this is what AI is, what is machine learning? Anyone? We hear these terms almost being used interchangeably, just getting some quick concepts of the, of the table for now so that we are on the same page as we move into the next section. So imagine a child who's been taught to identify a dog and a cat and nothing else. In all probability, this child will identify a hyena as a dog and a tiger as a cat. But once this child is provided with additional data of what a hyena is, what a tiger is, the child can identify all the four animals and more as the child is being taught. It is exactly the same principle that machine learning works on. Give it more data, it learns and performs better. So machine learning, as the name indicates, is when machines learn. Here, we build models that enable the machines to learn the algorithms by themselves as the data changes. Now, how cool is that? A machine that can create the logic by itself. So let's take a simple example. Think of an event where we're trying to automate the entry to the event and where only people older than 18 are allowed. And we're going to be using a pseudocode, right? So my pseudocode would look something like this. If the person is greater than 18 years, allow, else deny. Now, this is simple. A new condition emerges. If we decide to let people younger than 18, as long as they are accompanied by an adult, I have to rewrite the code. If the person is greater than 18, then allow. Else, if the person is accompanied by an adult, then allow, else deny. Once again, we decide to allow people younger than 18, accompanied by adults only between 8 to 10 p.m. So I have to rewrite the code again. If the person is greater than 18, allow. If the person is accompanied by an adult, the time is between 8 to 10 p.m., then allow, else deny. You see how every time we have changing of rules. We have to change the rules that we code for the software to do what we want. With complex data, this process is only cumbersome. And with a plethora of data being generated by the second today, this task almost becomes impossible. So this is where machine learning comes into play. You don't have to rewrite the whole software.
But what about this? If you're an experienced ophthalmologist, you could probably read this to get a diagnosis of whether or not this eye was diseased. But could you tell the age of the person? Or could you tell their birth assigned gender? What if I told you that machine learning could do that? All you have to do is give it lots of images of eyes and the age of the person who owns that eye, and then have it figure out the patterns that match one to the other. You give it the answers, you give it the data, and it can figure out the rules. Now, no programmer can do that. Nobody can understand the rules that can determine how old somebody is just from their eye scan. So like I said earlier, when you get down into the trough and you realize how these things actually work, then you can begin to climb. Just like a scientist at Google who used machine learning to build a model that predicts somebody's age to within 3.25 years using only a retina scan. Now that's why I'm really excited about this stuff. So now you've seen the idea behind machine learning. You're getting a computer.
So if this is what AI is, what machine learning is, what is deep learning? Another term that we hear so very often. Anyone? Deep learning? So AI is the concept of creating smart, intelligent machines. Machine learning is a subset of AI that helps us build AI-driven applications. Deep learning is a further subset of machine learning that uses vast volumes of data and complex algorithms to train a model. So in machine learning, humans act as trainers for the program. In deep learning, it is the neural networks that stand in for the human and act as trainer for the model. The major difference between deep learning versus machine learning is the way data is presented to the machine. Machine learning, the algorithms, they would usually require structured data. Deep learning networks, they would work on multiple layers of artificial neural networks. Now, what is generative AI? So within deep learning, you have something known as convolutional neural networks. You have something known as, other kinds of neural networks, but the important one is the generative neural network. So think of it as a combination of angel and devil's advocate. Who's an angel? He's a positive scrutinizer for good reasons. So can you get the picture of having them on each shoulder to steer us in the right directions? So the generator creates content. The discriminator distinguishes between the real and generated content. And after much debate, think of it like an iterative process. Between the angel and the devil's advocate, the generator improves its ability to create realistic content, while the discriminator becomes more accurate at identifying fake content. So this is the business of generative AI, comes from generative adversarial networks. Adversarial, which means opposite of each other, GANs, consists of two deep neural networks, a generator, angel, and a discriminator, devil's advocate. So yes, these are algorithmic architectures that use two neural networks to create new synthetic instances of data that pass for real data. So a GAN trained on photographs can generate new photographs that look at least superficially authentic to human observers. So generative adversarial networks, yes, they are good at generating random images. As an example, a GAN trained on images of cats can generate random image of a cat having two eyes, two ears, whiskers. The color pattern on the cat could be, however, very random. So this is where the whole picture comes together. AI, ML, deep learning, generative AI. So the most powerful generative AI algorithms, they are built on top of these foundation models that are trained on a vast quantity of unlabeled data in a self-supervised way to identify underlying patterns for a wide range of tasks. So yes, generative AI systems fall under the broad category of machine learning, and here is how ChatGPT describes what it can do. Did anything in that paragraph seem off to you? Maybe not. The grammar is perfect, the tone works, the narrative flows. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So yes, big ticket arrival very quickly. Who created any questions? Any questions? All right. Very quickly, top 10 questions that I generally get asked. GAN, the model, the first one designed by Ian Goodfellow and his colleagues way back in June 2014, today being used across industries. Yes, manufacturing, pharma, genetics research, many more. You could be generating new text, video, audio, what have you, right? Some common challenges, yes, those are pseudo image generation, security obstacles, data privacy concerns, control limitations, maybe ethical issues. ChatGPT, as we've spoken about, free chatbot that can generate an answer to almost any question. DALL-E is the one which is a tool for AI-generated art. All right. So, very important question. So, while ChatGPT may be getting all the headlines, but it's not the first text-based machine learning model. There has been OpenAI's GPT-3. There has been Google's BERT before. The first machine learning model, they would work with text that were trained by humans to classify various inputs according to labels set by researchers. This is supervised learning. But the next generation is where you had self-supervised learning. So this is where they took it really further. You could now have predictions, generation of predictions at a very fast pace. What does it take? Well, major undertaking, to the extent that only a few well-resourced technology heavyweights have made an attempt, billions in funding from bold-faced name donors. Yes, there is Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, all of these top big tech companies, they are there. There is also the problem of all of these companies, they've already usurped some of the world's best computer scientists and engineers. But it's not just talent. GPT-3, it was trained on around 45 terabytes of text data. How much is that? That's about 1 million feet of bookshelf space. Now, those, at an estimated cost of several $1 million. Now, these aren't resources that your and my garden variety startup can access. The kind of outputs, as I said, indistinguishable from human-generated content, easily solid A- essays, and Doll-E, yes, it's a mashup of the surrealist artist Salvador Dali and the lovable pixel robot Wall-E. It can create strange, beautiful images on demand, can produce code, video, audio, business simulations, all of these things, right? And a wide variety of credible writing in seconds, which is fit for purpose. You could even have creation of more technical materials like higher resolution versions of medical images. So practically anything under the sun. Limitations, hell yes. We yet to see the long tail effect of these generative AI models. They could be biased, they could be manipulated, they could be reputational or legal risks involved in unintentionally publishing biased, offensive, copyrighted content, right? All of these. So one has to be very, very careful. Net, yes, it is here to stay. Several countries, they are, of course, also restricting or banning access to ChatGPT initially due to various concerns, privacy, misinformation, national security. But yes, it is very clearly here to stay. Yes, please tell me, any questions, comments, observations, taking a quick 3-minute tour around the room. Anyone, anything? If these were the top 10 questions on generative AI, very quickly, the top 10 that I typically get asked on ChatGPT, I would imagine at least a few of you, if not all, have at least tried your hands on ChatGPT. So by now we know that, as OpenAI said, it is an AI chatbot system to show off and test what a very large, powerful AI system can accomplish. You can ask it countless questions. You will often get answers that are useful. Explain Newton's laws of motion, write me a poem, now make it more exciting, anything under the sun. The catch is it does not. ChatGPT does not exactly know anything. It's an AI that is trained to recognize patterns in this vast suites of text harvested from the internet and then further trained with human assistance to deliver more useful, better dialogue. The answers I get, they may sound plausible, even authoritative, but they might well be entirely wrong. Yes, something known as hallucination. Perhaps we will get to speak about it briefly at some time. Kind of questions, yes, ask anything. You may not always get an answer, but explain physics. Give me birthday party ideas. Give me programming help. The expertise is broad. The ability to follow a conversation is notable. So, as an example, I asked for words that rhymed with purple. It offered a few suggestions. I followed it up by saying, how about with pink? It did not miss a beat, right? So human, so conversational. This company called OpenAI, an AI research company, yes, brainchild of theirs. They say their mission is to develop a safe and beneficial artificial general intelligence system or to help others do so. They have 375 employees. Sam Altman, the man of the moment. We have managed to pull together the most talent-dense researchers and engineers in the field of AI. That's what he said initially. They have made splashes before, as I said, GPT-3, and then Doll-E. All of these have been their products earlier on. But as I said, ChatGPT does not actually know anything the way you and I do. There is a free version, there is a paid version. Paid version, of course, responds faster, keeps working even during peak usage hours. It can give you wrong answers. It can give you a misleading impression of greatness. So one has to be careful. This is a phenomenon known as hallucination. 100% authoritative and yet 100% wrong answers that you get. Once again, yes, but with, it's not a simple black and white situation. There's been encyclopedia, calculators, search engines, Wikipedia. So yes, ChatGPT offers abilities for everything from helping with research to doing my homework, all of these things are possible. And many of their answers already sound like student essays, though often with a tone that is stuffier and more pedantic than what a writer may prefer. But I would think if Google, Wikipedia, Internet, etc. did not ruin education, then I look at it as a tool and not as a villain. Not with 100% certainty, but yes, there is technology which can enable us to spot it. But as I said, not with 100% certainty. Once again, yes, but with caveats. So it can retrace steps humans have taken. It can generate actual programming code. What would have been hours of work, it will take a few minutes for ChatGPT to do it. Designed to weed out inappropriate requests, questions that are racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, or otherwise discriminatory or hateful. All right, so big one. Google supplies us with suggested answers to questions and with links to websites that it thinks will be relevant. ChatGPT's answers, they will far surpass what Google will suggest. So yes, it is easy to imagine that GPT-3 is a rival. Google, of course, has built large language models. It uses AI now extensively already in search, but ChatGPT initially, when it came out, it did trigger a code red emergency within Google. This was according to New York Times. It drew Google co-founders Larry Page, Sergey Brin back into active work. Microsoft has built ChatGPT now into their rival search engine Bing. So yes, the field is becoming interesting by the day.
If you look at it, it's at the beginning of a new S-curve. And that's the fun part of being in the tech industry, where there are certain technologies that are reaching maturity that need to get deployed and show real results. And then we now have essentially an emergence of a completely new set of technology, which I think is going to be a revolutionary.
Questions, comments, observations, reflections, anything, anyone. We have good 20 minutes now left. Good time for us to step back and start discussing. Engagement is the way to learning. Any questions, comments, observations, anyone, anything? All right. You just heard Satya Nadella, and he's talking about the technology industry moving in these platform shifts. Every 10 to 15 years, a new platform resets the technology industry. So yes, we're talking the 1950s and mainframes are here to stay. The 1970s and PCs changed the world. The 1990s and you have the internet, and the 2000s, early 2000s is when mobile telephony and cloud come to dominate. And today you have generative AI. Yes, new technology, as he said, comes in these S-curves. Smartphones, they are mature, which means they are amazing, but boring. And after 10 years, machine learning, well on the way to become boring. And we have now a new cycle. And this is how machine learning has changed over the course of the last 10 years. So every text box on the internet is today getting an LLM. You will find them everywhere. Can I help you with this? Can I write this for you? And so many of the posts today you are finding, they're all AI written. So maybe it is more than just a platform shift. Yes, maybe yes. But the challenges as we move from vision to deployment, what is already big, what is being built, what comes next? If you look at the ideas from 2000, maybe people will buy things online. Ideas from 2010, there is software as a service, there is automation, there is collaboration, there are workflows. Ideas for 2030, is it crypto, is it metaverse, is it generative AI? Questions, comments, observations, anything, anyone? All right, these are the last few slides. I'm trying to bring all of this together. I had hoped that we would have at least 20 to 30 odd minute of discussions, but I'm going to be open to it. But before I close, these are the absolutely top gist of what we've been discussing since morning. The platform shift to AI is well underway. AI, generative AI, it is the new Web3. It is the iPhone moment for AI. Performance is already approaching human baseline. Large language models, they are benefiting from this flywheel effect. Now, very clear relationship between this innovative potential in a platform shift and the value it creates. So Peter F. Drucker, the father of management, he said a business exists to create value. So the purpose of a business is all about value creation, value capture, value extraction, value transmission. Earlier on in the day, I spoke about AI in a reader's poll being made equivalent to a mobile phone. Surprise, surprise, McKinsey's estimates of value creation are as follows. Cloud, for the life of it, through the life of it, will have a value creation impact of something like $3 trillion. Cloud, $3 trillion. Mobile, $8 trillion. Internet, $16 trillion. Lo and behold, AI, $21 trillion. That is the kind of value creation potential that this amazing technology offers. The next decade, therefore, very clearly, AI first from a big tech platform perspective. Yes, we can expect to see evolution in business models, in services offered, in these revenue streams, but it will take some time to be all pervasive. And as with mobile, AI will not be the answer to everything. You've really got to take the new technology, lean in completely, democratize it, and have innovation. As we speak today, it is noisy out there. But we in the frenzy phase of this major platform shift in the internet era. So you expect Google, Microsoft, possibly Amazon, and maybe Apple to duke it out in a major clash of the titans. And this will have effects on the day-to-day work of nearly everyone in technology. Why? Because most of us have dependency on search, we're using productivity apps, and we have our sites running on cloud. Nonetheless, somewhere amidst all of these companies claiming to beat OpenAI at their own game, which is built on GPT-4 now, there is the seed of this next Amazon or TikTok. We will know in 5 to 8 years and then in 10 to 15. All right. And very, very importantly, the heart of everything that happens in terms of applications on AI, how it becomes very important. I'm not going to be running through a demo. So these are a few slides that we can perhaps leave. I don't think, but it basically enables us to do this predictive prescriptive analysis. But this is quite the end of what I had set out to do, the three marks that you see here. Yes. Any questions, comments, observations, discussions, anything, anyone? If you want, and if you would allow me, I will stop sharing the screen and perhaps you guys can turn on your videos and we could have a quick, any kind of question. Don't be, the more we engage, the more we learn. Can I please, Tony, stop sharing the screen if you will allow me?
Yes, go ahead, sir. And please, you can utilize the chat box if you have questions, or you can simply unmute your mic.
Perfect. Thank you. My screen was shared all through, right, Tony?
Yeah, not anymore, sir.
I know.
Yeah, but yes, everything was clear during the discussion.
Oh, perfect. Yes, I'm your co-pilot now. Ask, even a keyword will do. Ask cryptic most questions if you don't want to phrase them long.
So we have one question, sir, on the chat
Please.
box.
Do you want, can you read it out for me?
Sure. The question is, how about your stand about AI agent?
Okay, very, very interesting question. And who's asked that question?
Came from Ms. Salahuddin.
Salahuddin, very well. Salahuddin Mamat, right? Very good. So AI agents, they are little robots in software. They think, they decide, they do the stuff for you. So think of a helper who can help me book flights, who can write my email, who can solve puzzles. So imagine you have invisible robot friends who can help me with my homework, with games, with even cleaning my room. If I were a 5-year-old, if I were a 10-year-old. So I just tell them and they go, zoom, and do it. What does that mean? Talking to an adult AI agents is what gives agency to AI, which means instead of only letting me know the answer to something, AI agents are software programs that can observe, which means get information. They can think, which means they can analyze and plan. They can, very importantly, as the name suggests, act. They can do the things. So there are customer support bots who are reading your question, who are thinking, and who are giving an answer. There is the self-driving car. It is seeing the road, it is planning the route, and it is driving. So they can work alone, they can work with other agents. So it's a team of tiny invisible workers doing tasks step by step. When they are more advanced, they are autonomous agents, which means they do not just follow orders, they set goals themselves, which means I will learn how to make coffee on my own. Right? Yes? Does that, Salahuddin, does that make sense? So if I were to mix generative AI with AI agents, and let's say I'm wanting to launch a new product, so maybe my command will be, help me write a product launch email. AI agent steps would be, it will search the product information. So this is observation. It will plan the email, introduction, features, call to action. This is where it is thinking. It will use generative AI like ChatGPT to generate the email. This is where it is acting. The bonus is it can even send the email for me via my Gmail API. So once again, at a very layman level, it's like asking a robot to write a birthday card for my friend. The robot thinks about what my friend likes, writes it, and even posts it. All right? Yes. Salahuddin, very good question, man. Thank you so much. More questions? Questions, comments, observations, discussions, experiences to share, anything, anyone? No questions? Let me quickly go through the chat. Nabil, yes, smartphones, I know what you were referring to. Automation. Okay, Thomas also has a question I can see. And Salahuddin, that's a very interesting comment that you have made. Yes, very, very interesting. You are absolutely right. You today have companies that are getting into the business of setting up, without any human staff or minimalistic. The definition of minimalistic is not more than 1 or 2 people and using AI agents to do all the stuff. So we will come to the next question, which I can see. Would you read them for me, please? So Kohan, generating answers based on, while machine learning and deep learning is predicting, making decisions based on complex data. Generating answers, yes, it is in the business of generating. Yes, you are right to that extent. Maybe answers, maybe text, code, image, whatever you have, music, etc. Machine learning, deep learning are okay. So very good question. I would like to take that. Kuhan, if I have pronounced your name right. Yes, a very good question. What you are basically referring to is the difference between traditional AI versus generative AI. All right. Very, very beautiful and very neat, cool question. So traditional AI decides and generative AI creates. So traditional AI looks at data. When you're talking about machine learning and deep learning, traditional AI would look at data. It will make the choices. Spam, not spam. Think of Netflix recommending movies. It is coming through traditional AI. Generative AI looks at data and makes new stuff. Here is a story I just wrote. So ChatGPT writing poem for me, DALL-E making pictures for me. So traditional AI robot that helps me pick toys. Generative AI robot that makes new toys for me. All right. So this is where, yes, you are right. Traditional AI is based on predictions, which means it is a deterministic model. It will say this is spam, this is not spam. Generative AI is based on probabilistic model, which means it will continue to generate. Some of it may be right and some of it may not be right. So if you will open your chat GPT, you will notice at the bottom in the center, chat GPT can make mistakes. Check important info, because they realize that it is an AI system working on a probabilistic architecture to generate answers. All right, Kwan, I hope that helps. And let me see the jobs that will take over by AI fully. Yes, jobs. This is very, very critical. Jobs and AI. And yes, this is at the heart of very, very big ticket discussion all over the world. So I would say AI will not take all jobs, but it will change most of the jobs. So some of the jobs will be replaced. So think of repetitive jobs, data entry, basic emails, etc. Some of the jobs will be upgraded. So you plus AI plus humans is greater than either human or AI. So you plus AI, this will be the super worker combination. So 40 years ago, we got, telephones to become a kind of a, on our desk, they appeared. 30 years ago, the PCs appeared, the internet appeared, right? Today, each one of us have in our pockets this mobile phone, right? But this is where AI will become a super worker who could help me with design, with coding, with marketing. There would be new jobs. Think prompt engineers, AI trainers, AI ethicists, right? So AI is like getting a superpower. If you learn to use it, you're the superhero. If not, it is like not knowing how to ride a bike when everyone else is zooming. I hope that helps. Yes, any other questions? Is there any question that I have missed? Let me see on my chat here. Yes, I see some question by, I think it's Thomas. Is there a free AI agent or do we need to build one of our own? I think very intelligent question. I can sense that you're coming with a technically more robust background, Thomas. So there are free AI agents. There is Auto GPT, which is an open source. It makes plans, it uses tools, it does research. However, it needs setup. So you need to have Python or a GitHub, but they are free. There is Hugging GPT, which uses many AI models together. It is free on Hugging Face. There is Open Devin, which is an AI coding agent. It is early and it is free for developers. There is Chat GPT plus plugins. Some of these are free. They act like agents with plugin and tools. So basic Chat GPT is free. Plugins are available on the Pro version. There is Agent GPT, which is web-based. So this will, you could type your goal and it tries to complete it. Which once again, this is free with limits. I hope that helps. Any other question that I'm missing out, uh, Tony?
So far, none, sir. You were able to address them all.
Yeah, very well. That's a very nice statement, Salahuddin. Thank you for enriching the discussion through your inputs and interventions. Yes, that is what I said. AI plus humans is greater than either human or AI. We are at the fag end of it. People, any other questions, comments, observations, anything, anyone? Perfecto. So what a pleasure it has been. Thank you very much for your kind attention, for your patience. And I do hope that in your journey of AI, you guys make it well. In your journey of learning, you guys make it well. And wishing you all the very best for the remaining sessions through the week, as also in your respective careers, as also in the larger canvas of your life. So here I am signing off, Tony. Can I log off, or is there some other formality to do? You are on mute, Tony. You are on mute.
Sorry about that, sir. Oh, I was saying that we'll be taking one last class picture with everyone. So please show your beautiful faces once again.
Please, please. Turn on your cameras. Very
There.
well. I can now see you, Kuhan and Salahuddin and Thomas. Yes.
All right.
Very well.
Anybody else? All right. Okay, once again, thank you so much for joining this morning session. If you are interested to join the rest of our classes for today and for the rest of the week, we'll be sending you notifications through your email and with the WhatsApp group. All right. Thank you so much for your time today, Sir Piyush. And again, um, thank you for joining the NTW